This is the Education Business Podcast for consultants and business owners providing services in schools. I'm Claire Riley, and I'll be sharing how to start, grow and scale your education business. Hey everyone, welcome to the Teachers Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If I met you at the weekend for the first time and you're listening to the podcast, then huge welcome. Thank you for listening. I had such a wonderful weekend. So I went to Manchester, I spoke at Carrie Ann Booth's Full Steam Ahead event. That felt like a mouthful to say. And I talked about building value in your business for lots of scientists, mathematicians, artists. I can't remember all of the technologists, all of the different areas of STEAM. And yeah, it was just an amazing day. And I felt like the speech was really well received. And I held a networking event the night before, and so many people came because they were already there for Carrie's event, so it was just absolutely amazing. If you have got FOMO right now because you've seen some of the posts on social media, then get in touch and I will make sure that you can have details of next year's event. I'm not an affiliate or anything. I don't know if I will be there yet, but it was a really good event, so yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. So today I want to talk about building your team and really tackle one of the misconceptions I think that can be there around building team. And it's certainly a misconception I had that I actually ran with as a business owner, and something I don't want you to do. I want you to have this in mind. And that is that building a team should mean building revenue. And so with a lot of the talks that I have been doing recently and the conversations that I've had, I feel like it's helped me to get really clear on what I actually know. Sometimes we know lots of things, but we can't think of it in a clear way. And I think there are different stages in your business. The first stage is that we are a solopreneur and we're probably trying to create a job that we love. And all businesses start that way. If you're not buying a business and you're starting one, then you're trying to create a job that you love. So it's not wrong, it's just where you begin. And sometimes we can try and jump into the next phase too early, and that can thwart us. And I know that I teach people to make their businesses bigger, to think about the value that they're creating and what happens in the future. And sometimes we can want to step into that too early. But actually, we need to grow this job that we love first. We have to be the solopreneur in the beginning. And that doesn't mean growing solopreneur hours. It means growing a solopreneur income. So if you're in your business and you're earning 10 grand a year and you're working 60 hours, that's not it. You're not ready. You need to focus on how do you get that to be 40 grand, 50 grand, just from you working full-time hours. And full-time hours might be more than 40 hours. At the end of the day, we're entrepreneurs, we're business owners. We have to put time in at the beginning to reap the rewards in the future. So then when you are at that stage where you actually have the full-time income, you might think then it's hiring, but actually it's not hiring yet. I think there are things that you can do before you start hiring, like making sure your systems and processes are really streamlined. And one thing that really stood out to me over the weekend was that I shared my podcast process like 3 times with different people, just because it came up in conversation. And all of them thought that the process was really streamlined and was surprised at how quick it was. They thought that it would take a long time. And to record this podcast episode, the whole process takes about an hour. It has actually been requested that I create an episode sharing my process, which I'm happy to do. I'd love to know if that would help you. But I suppose it made me realise that I am very experienced at just creating a process very quickly, so that things are quick. And until we have to become experienced in that, maybe we're not experienced in that. So that is the next thing to look at. Is it very process driven? Are you doing the same things every single time? Because if you're not, you could probably save some time. The other thing as well is to look at technology. So what can often happen is we don't look at the technology because we don't know it's possible, or maybe we're scared of the technology, or we don't know where to start. And we can have team members do certain things, or we can do those things when actually technology could do that and it would be free and it would save loads and loads of time. That's definitely happened to us. There was a time where in customer service, there would be a resistance to looking at how technology could fulfill that need more quickly rather than having the team do the work. The mindset was not really aligned to cost saving. So for me, that's your next step. If you have become the victim of your own success where you're working all the hours, but you've also got the full-time income and it's amazing, but now you've got a ceiling and you don't know how you can grow, maybe you want a bit more time back. Before you do go to hiring, you have to look at your tech. Is it really doing everything that you need it to do? And your systems and processes, which will be supported by your tech. Because the whole idea here is maximizing the income in relation to the output, because people cost money. People cost money, so the more money you can bring in without having somebody, the better. Then we move on to the sexy stuff, hiring people, building a team. And the goal of that has to be money. Often we can get too sidetracked and we can start thinking instead about how many team members we've got. And I fell into this trap, definitely. And it's more likely to happen in some instances where we do it before we're at that stage of being the victim of our own success. I'm not talking about not taking a VA on or anything like that. You might do that kind of thing to help you, but you don't want to be committing to employees until you get to that point where it feels like a sure thing. But anyway, back to the point. The goal is income. If having another team member is not bringing more money in that's going straight to the bottom line, it's not worth it. So for example, if you've taken on a tutor, but then the software and the resources means that there's hardly anything left after you've paid them as well, is it really adding to your business? Now, if you're taking a chunk off, maybe it's a third or something, and it's actually making an impact and it's growing your business, great. But if it's just a vanity metric where you've got somebody else to manage or deal with, but you're kind of breaking even, then it doesn't really make sense. And that's when I would look to obviously increase prices, maybe think about how you can deliver to many rather than one, and also look at technology. How can technology save time with different things? What are the systems and processes? How could we save time? Which actually means save money. So I thought it would be helpful to clear that up because I know that I bang on about needing to hire a team a lot. It's important to remember that this is under certain circumstances. We're trying to get to the point of hiring a team, but we can set ourselves up to do it in the best way by making sure that we're in the right place for it, that we're ready for it, and that we're not going to make it even more difficult than it already is. So if you started building a team and you don't feel like it's bringing the extra revenue into the business by the time you've paid everything out, really start to think about how you can make that work better for you. Do you need to increase the price? Do you need to look at your tech stack? Do you need to think about how you might be able to transition to delivering things in a different way? And I'd love to help you. I've been talking a little bit more about what Education Business Club can offer. On one side, we've got the membership, that's self-serve. There's so many lessons in there and I add to them every single week. That's for you if you are at the point where you've built this full-time job with a full-time income. You're not ready to be talking to us regularly, but you do want the lessons and you do want the support. The membership's for you. The other side, the 2-to-1 mentoring, that's where you get me and Ed. You need to apply for that. We need you to have at least 5 team members because we love helping you sort the chaos out that you've created when you're at that level of your business, but you have to have people to be able to pass it on to, people to help you sort the mess out. So that's at the other end. And then in the middle, what happens if you just want some guidance? Just an hour's session to set you on the right track, maybe plan out the next 4 months, the next 6 months, figure it all out. And perhaps you'll use the membership to self-serve in the meantime, and then come back for another power hour to get yourself focused for the next 4 months. And this can really help you get to a place where you are ready for the 2-to-1 mentoring and we can really help you move forward with your business, building it as an asset instead of a job that you love. So you'll find all the links to those 3 offerings in the show notes. But maybe it's time to take action. I know many of you listen every single week. Maybe you are at the phase where the podcast is just everything that you need. But if you are somebody who is starting to take team members on, whether they're employed or not, who's there holding your hand? Who's there helping you with all the details that chaos creates? Who's helping you solve the little challenges so that you can move through them more quickly? Because that could be me, and it could be Ed. Or maybe you've got someone more suited in mind, but you do need that support if you want to move more quickly. Okay, I've waffled on enough now. So, I'm either going to see you in the club, or I'm going to see you on a coaching call, or you'll hear me in the podcast next week. Thank you for listening to the Education Business Podcast. To get more information to grow your business, sign up at educationbusinessclub.co.uk.